One of the most common questions asked before people move overseas is, how much money will I need? Man, I can't help you with that. I can give you some little pointers and give you a range of prices. I don't know your comfort level. I don't know your financial situation, your lifestyle. I can't tell you how to live. I can tell you how I live. And if you compare other channels, you can kind of get an estimate. One thing I also want to show you is this really cool spreadsheet I found. I don't know where I got it. It's just on my computer. Could have come from a Facebook group, a chat forum. I don't know if it's an expat group, budget group. No idea. But it's a pretty neat little spreadsheet. I will post a link down below to my blog where you can download it. The formulas are very well made. It's a cool spreadsheet. So we'll take a look at that and we'll talk about budget amounts. Oh boy. I want to show you this budget spreadsheet. This is really put together well. I don't know who did it. The yellow column are the numbers that you edit. You edit the recurring total, which is like your monthly budget. You set the low amount and then the increment will change how much each column will increase. You can edit those to anything you want, and then you set your percentages, and then as you see, when you change any number, the entire form will update itself. I have it set for the 30,000 pesos at the 10,000 increment just because it's kind of handy. That gives you a good wide range. It goes from 30,000 to 120,000, and the percentages are close. It's kind of hard. You'll have to adjust some of that yourself, but it's all real easy. You can change the titles here. You can change the name of them. You can change the percentages. I do like the way the percentages work. When it's below 100%, you see the line turns green and it shows you how much is left to be budgeted. If you go over 100, it turns red and it shows you how much you need to remove from your budget to get it down to 100%. If you're trying to work out, what can raise or lower or how much to budget for a particular category, that actually is very helpful. Now, an apartment here would probably run you in Iloilo in this 10,000 to 15,000 range. You could get a decent small house or a really nice apartment. A Filipino apartment would be closer to the 6,000, but you can easily go on up as high as you want for the bigger houses and condos. So you have to be able to determine what you are comfortable with. The electric here is high. It's got to be at least 10% of your budget, I have found. And in the US, they usually recommend like between 5 and 10%. Here, it's like 10% minimum. Around 3,000, you can run an air conditioner a few hours a night, plus your fans, lights, what have you. You get up around 5 or 6,000, you can run your air conditioner, probably one window unit, 24 hours. You can run your 5 or 6,000 a month. If you start going crazy, it will go higher. This is one that won't, as you make more money, you probably won't be spending that much more unless you put aircon in every room, which of course you could. On groceries, at 6,000 pesos, you're going to eat some imported food, a lot of local food. You spend around 10,000, you can get really good quality meats, quite a bit of imported food. You can be pretty comfortable on 10,000 a month. I know people that spend way more, and it's completely up to you. If you have to have beef every meal, you're going to pay more. But the beef here is not very good. It's not really worth it. On my personal budget, I have like dining out, transportation, and miscellaneous. I have these all kind of under one category called pocket money, because that's all kind of just what you carry around with you. I don't separate it out like this, but it's probably a good idea for your budget to separate it out. The bills here are minimal. A majority of my budget really is just pocket money, because you have internet, electric, rent, groceries. And that's about it. I mean, you could have satellite TV or something, but there's not a lot of bills here unless you really just go crazy. You can live very cheap, but as I said, your comfort level is up to you. Now, on the cell phone, for this low end, you're going to be buying load for your phones and can have minimal internet at the house, but it's going to be kind of limited. If you go up around 4 or 5 thousand a month, you could have a good plan for internet at the house. We've got like 150 gigabytes a month at the house and 2 phones with 7 gigabytes each. So you can spend under 5,000 will get you pretty well set for internet. If you need it faster, you need fiber, sometimes it'll cost you a little more. I would get fiber if it was in this area. But we do spend about 5,000 a month, I think, between the 2 cell phones and the house. We used to just buy load when I first got here, and we weren't spending on the phones. It was less than 1,000 a month. And then, of course, the home internet was still about 1,005. It's actually come down some since I got here. There are a lot of categories you could add. This doesn't have insurance or PhilHealth. Any charitable giving, any out-of-pocket healthcare expenses, daycare, or any other child-related expenses. If you want to have a category for travel, you can adjust this as needed. This was just a basic form I found somewhere. My comfort level is pretty easy. I don't need a lot. When I first got here in 2013, I had $850 a month. And at the exchange rate of 42 to 1 we had back then, that was a whopping 35,000 pesos a month. Not very high for a foreigner, but squarely in the middle class for the Philippines. So a lot of people here live on less. Foreigners usually live on more. I did live on under $1,000 a month for years, but I wouldn't recommend it because I don't know you. After I retired last year, I increased our budget, and we're still only spending $1,000 a month. And I'm comfortable. You may not be. I have enough pocket money. I have the internet, air conditioner, a refrigerator full of food. As you can see, I ain't starving. Yeah, this lockdown's been really bad for me. So I know guys that live on $1,000 a month. I know guys that live on $4,000 a month. Now back in Texas, I was a single father. I didn't even spend $4,000 a month then. I don't know how they spend it here. But if they're happy, more power to them. Like everyone says here, it's up to you. I can't tell you what you're comfortable with. I know a couple guys that spend $4,000 or more every month, and they're happy with it. There are guys on $1,000, and they seem to be happy with it. So it's really a huge range. So all we can really do is give you some price points on what you can expect for different budgets. Hello.
Oh, so sorry.
No worries. One thing I have noticed here is if you use, all I can speak from is like US budgets. Most of your budgeting sites and experts, they recommend like 25% to 35% for housing. I found here 20% is actually more reasonable. Housing is pretty cheap. But then they would say 5 to 10% for utilities. I find it's got to be at least 10% or a little more just for electricity, because the utility costs here are rather high. Now, I've never lived anywhere here that we pay for water. Even in the city, our apartment was on a well. So I've never paid for water. I don't know how much it is. We do buy drinking water, but that comes out of a different part of the budget. That's like groceries. They recommend usually 10% to 15% for food. I'm a little more around 20% for food, but I like more Western style foods. If you're happy with fish and rice, you can eat a whole lot cheaper. I'm on pork and vegetables, so mine's a lot higher. Again, up to you. I'm going to say that a lot probably. On this spreadsheet, there are some glaring omissions, especially for expats, like visa fees or health insurance. Now, the visa fees and health insurance aren't really something that's going to slide by your budget. You know, your electrical cost may go up as you get more money, you get more air conditioning. Your visa fees stay the same. You make 30,000 pesos, you have 100,000 pesos. Your visa fees don't really adjust, you know, so they're going to stay about the same. And your insurance is going to vary more by your age and your health than your monthly income. So as far as on this spreadsheet with going by percentages, doesn't quite fit, but somewhere you need to work those in because visa fees and health insurance are probably something you're going to want to consider. You know, it is part of your budget. When we lived in the city, we paid $6,500 for an apartment. At the time, it was about $155. At today's exchange, it would be about $130. But the rent might be higher, I don't know. It was a basic 2-bedroom Filipino-style apartment, but it had decent-sized rooms. Some of them are really, the newer ones especially, are really tiny. You get some of the older apartments, you will get larger rooms. But they're just plain, you'll see this standard apartment. It's like this sixplex. It's this one building with 6 apartments in it. Usually 1 story, some of them 2-story, but they're very basic. All the apartments like that we looked at, they're kind of all the same. No, you know, big amenities, no pool, no gym. In the place, it's pretty bare. You know, it might have a shower, it might not. Ours did have a shower, but we added a water heater, took it with us when we left. But for $6,500, you're looking at $150 a month at that time. It was a good sized 2-bedroom. So you can see the building was nothing fancy. Could use a paint job, but it's not my building. I'm not going to paint it. 1 bedroom was my office, so I had my own little office, which was nice. Good sized living room. Decent kitchen, bigger than the kitchen we have now. It was really not a bad apartment for, you know, it was under $200 a month. I know people now that spend 20,000 pesos for a condo. And if they're happy, you know, that's still only $400. So if you're looking at it from like the Western prices, that's still a good price. Now for here, that is expensive. You can get a good house or apartment for 10,000 to 15,000. We spent less and we got a little basic Filipino apartment. But man, it was great. It was twice as big as this house we have now, and it was cheap, so it was not bad. You can like I said, depending on your needs. This apartment, I don't think anybody would find anything too terribly wrong with it. It's nothing fancy, but it was definitely serviceable. It was not like living in a bamboo nipa, and we did that. That was fun too. There's a lot of bugs though. When we lived in the apartment, we were in the apartment in the city on $850 a month. I would not recommend it, but I enjoyed it. It worked for me. I would recommend $1,200 to $1,500 a month to be pretty comfortable. You certainly can spend more, and if you go out, if you're into the bar scene and picking up lots of girls, you're gonna probably spend more. If you're married and settled down, depending on your wife and you may not spend so much. You know, if y'all still like going out, dinners and movies and, you know, going out all the time, you know, but that's completely up to you. Your lifestyle is up to you. I can't set your spending money. You could easily make it here on $1,500 a month. I have no problem recommending that. We live, the two of us, on $1,000 a month. Now, as I said, we built this house and we spent cash to build it, so we have no rent, no mortgage. But our rent was under $200 a month when we had it, so even rent's not that bad. My main budget categories are, you would have probably rent, most likely. I have internet on the phone and the house, electricity, groceries, and pocket money, because all the transportation, eating out, going to the mall, everything's just kind of lumped into pocket money. Over half our budget is in pocket money because the bills here are just not much. You can get satellite or cable TV. We did have it, but neither of us watched it, so we canceled it. Your comfort level will determine your budget. Generally, we spend as much as we have. Most people I know do. So it just depends on how comfortable you want to be. Anywhere from 1,000 to 4,000 is pretty common. I know guys that just are all over that scale, and it just depends on what your comfort needs and requirements are. So make a budget that is comfortable and realistic, and enjoy your golden years. And don't be a miser. They call it the golden years because it's time to spend that gold and enjoy. Your body is not a temple, it is an amusement park. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy your day in paradise.